this is Noreen from Joya Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please click that subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. Also, I give away the demo card, so if you're a first-time subscriber, put your email in the comments, and I'll email you back and let you know if you won the card. Also, make sure you watch the video all the way through, because you never know. I might give the card away to anyone, or I might be doing card kits or swaps or something. So anyway, now let's go make a card. Today's card is a fun fold card. So look at this. We have braids now in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. So I've got a braid here, and this moves up, and this opens up like this. And this is really cool. I really like this. So we're going to be using Sweet as a Peach, and of course we're going to be using the dies for Sweet as a Peach. We're also going to be using Tailor Made tags, and I did a whole tag video just recently where I took all our papers, including DS and Specialty, and put them on these little rings. And oh, go refer to that video just a few weeks ago. Anyway, and then also we're going to be using the basic border dies, which are fantastic, and of course You're a Peach DS paper. So let's get started. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take the card base, and this is Pale Papaya, just a regular 5.5 by 4 1/4 base. And then I'm going to take a ruler, and I'm going to measure off here at the top, middle, and bottom about 1.25 inches. And we're doing this because we're going to be taking the basic border die and we're going to cut it. And I don't want it to be all catawonky, so I'm just making those little dots there. And then the basic border die we're using is the zigzag. And we're going to take this zigzag die and take a Sharpie or something that, doesn't wipe off and mark one end. Because when you do dies different direction like this, it changes it. And we need to know which end we're using all the time, because all these pieces right here, they all kind of fit together. So it's important that you just mark that tag, that top of the die. Then we're going to take the die and we're going to put it right at the top. So take your finger and make sure it's right on the top and line it up with that line those dots that you made. And then of course you got to flip this open. So flip this open all the way to the top and line it up. Now when we cut it on our die cutter, you're going to take a piece of tape and you're going to tape this down in a couple places so it doesn't move. So take this just like that, all lined up and taped down, and run it through your die cutter. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. So it's going to look like this when you take it off your die cutter, just like so. Now I did feature kind of this card in my Paper Pumpkin Alternatives, which went up on July 1st, 2021, and it looked like this. So what I did here with that Paper Pumpkin was basically the same thing. That's how I came to do this card. So I just did it with something that, everybody can buy. So we've got this piece. Now you're going to grab a piece of the You're a Peach DS paper, and you're going to cut this just to give yourself some fudgy room, 4 1/4 by 5.5. And go ahead and take that same die. Now remember, we marked it. So there's a mark here so you know exactly what side, which way it goes up. And I want you to take that piece of paper, and it doesn't matter if you're using a 5.5 by 4 1/4, as long as it's going, because this is going to be a horizontal card. I'm just giving you a little bit of fudgy room here. Make sure it's all the way up at the top and all the way down. It doesn't matter the length on this side as long as it's more than we've got here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this to my die cutter, and I'm going to cut this. So I've cut that. Now I'm going to gently remove the tape on the right side of this piece, because that's the piece we're going to use. Now if there's a little bit of a attachment, just pull it off. It's fine. Okay, and the tape I'm using, and I love it, is the Delicate Frog tape, and it's yellow. You can get it at Lowe's for real cheap, and it comes in a big roll. So we're going to take this piece and just put it to the side, and we're going to take this one and go ahead and grab your snail and snail up this piece. And we're going to fit this right below the stitching of the base, because I do want that peach to come through. So just like so. So you can see the peach stitching there, and I'm just to the right of it. And then I'm going to take the card and turn it over and grab a pair of really nice sharp scissors and just cut that edge off. That's why I wasn't worried about measuring the width of the card. So I'm just going to fussy cut that off just like so. Now at this point, it's a really good idea to take your bone folder and give your card a nice extra score down, just so it lays down more, because this is a fun fold and it's going to be a little bit of layering. So just make sure it's, you know, laying flat. Now I'm going to take a piece of the DS paper in a different pattern. Now this is You're a Peach. So I'm going to take this and cut it 4 1/4, and I'm going to cut it about 2 inches. And then I'm going to take that die again and look for that mark you made, and I'm going to take it all the way to the left or the right edge and tape that down, and I'm going to die cut it again. Now you've got this piece cut, so put that to the side and go ahead and snail this up. And we're going to do the same thing to the piece right here. So you're going to put this right below that stitch. So right below, just like that. Okay? And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut off the excess. So that's why it's not a big deal to get the length of the paper. So we're going to just cut it off. Just like that. Now let's go ahead and make the little arm here. So you're going to grab the Tailor Made tags, and this is the second smallest one, and you're going to take the circle one as well, and you're going to cut this one in just basic white, and then this doohickey you're going to cut out in this DS paper like so. Now it does cut 4, so you get 3 extra for whatever reason. So go ahead and cut those. Now that we've got the tag cut, we're going to take the Hope Your Day Is As and this little flower here, stamps from Sweet as a Peach, and we're going to stamp it in Calypso Coral. Now I would actually, let me take this back, do the flowers first. So I'm going to do the flower right next to that circle opening on the left. And then I'm going to take it again and get it in the middle here, line it up, and do one on the right. And then do your sentiment in the middle. Because if you do it the other way, you might run out of room. And just get them to the far left and right as humanly possible. And then stamp your sentiment. Now we're going to do the leaves. Now we're going to stamp this in Pear Pizzazz. And the reason why, if you look on the back of your DS paper, it will tell you all the colors that they're using. So I want to match that green as much as possible. So I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to stamp it in the Pear Pizzazz. Then I'm going to take a dauber, and I'm going to dauber it in Old Olive. And I'm just going to give it a little dabs everywhere. It's just to give it a bit of a, you know, a dimension to it. And I'm going to breathe on it because I gave it a second off the pad, and I'm going to stamp 2 of these. So that's one. And then, yes, I know I'm going to mix a little bit, but that's okay. And then I'm going to dab it again, maybe more on the branches. And I'm going to do a second one right here. Okay. Now for the peaches. Now I'm going to be stamping in Pale Papaya and Calypso Coral, because why? It's on the back of that DS paper, so I know it matches. So I'm going to go ahead and dip in the Pale Papaya, and then grab another dauber. And I always label my daubers, so you know I know that what they are. And then I'm going to dab onto the peach a little bit, give it a little breath. And I'm going to stamp 2 of these. So that's one. And I'm going to go in here. I'm going to dab a little bit. And if you don't want to mix your colors, just take your simple chamois and chamois it off really quick. And I'm going to dab there, give it a little breath, and stamp the other one. Now go ahead and grab your peach die. So we're going to be using this big die for this one and this open one for the peaches. Now on the peach die, one of the die things here has a little point to it, and that matches this little point on this little peach here. So I'm going to line these up, tape them down, and cut them out. Now that you've got all these cut off, what we're going to do is we're going to jump to the where the braid is. So what I want you to do is take a pencil and need to find the midpoint here. So this is 4 1/4. So this is 2 1/8, and just make a little pencil mark and then get the middle-ish, because I know that's a zigzag, so it's like middle-ish of this, so which is basically 1, so basically like half. I'm going to split the difference and put it right here. So I've got a little tick right there from the middle point, and then take your pick tool, and this is closed, so make sure it's closed, and you're going to take your pick tool and kind of hold it. Make sure your finger isn't directly under where I'm going to poke this through, because then you'll jab yourself pretty good. And I'm going to make a little hole right here, and then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to make the hole here just so I know it's going all the way through. And then the braids that I'm going to use are the black and white ones, and the round ones, they have rounded squares and the rounds are too small. So I took the square white one, and all of these supplies, if you go to the description of my video, there's a list of all the supplies. If you want to place an order, you just click on the link. It takes you directly to my Stampin' Up page, and you can place an order. So that's really nice. Anyway, so here's the braid, and I'm going to take this and I'm just going to reinforce that hole. And one end of the braid is longer than the other and pointier, so I'm going to put that in first. And then, of course, move your fingers out of the way and get that through. And if you need to make the hole bigger, just take your pick tool and make it a little bigger like I did, and stick that through all the way. So I'm just making the hole basically. And then we're going to line up where we're going to put these branches. So I'm going to take my tag, just a tag, you don't need the little circle part because we're just measuring up. And I'm looking at this, and I'm going to take the branches. Now, it would have been better if I would have put the zigzag on the other side, but well, why do that? And why make it easy? So I'm going to kind of fiddle where I want the placement of these, so I know where to put the peaches. And I kind of hung them over the tag here, so I'm just going to eyeball this and kind of look at what I did before. And I'm going to affix the peaches. Now you definitely want to take your mini dimensionals. If you don't have mini dimensionals, go to the description of my video and roll down to the mini dimensionals and click on that, and I'll take you to my site and you can place an order. So I'm going to put one here because I'm just kind of going off what my example has, because it should be pretty dead on. And you want to make sure, and this is why we're using mini dimensionals, is you might want to make sure it's on the paper completely, because if it hangs over the paper, it could hold onto your card base, and you don't want it to do that. So I'm going to put that right here and this one right here. So I'm going to do this other branch, and I'll be right back. All the dimensionals are down, and here's a closer up, let's see, video of, or picture of where I put those dimensionals. So I'm going to go ahead and affix my peaches. Don't push them down all the way yet, just in case you have to move one. And I'm just going to put it on like that. And there is a top and a bottom, so be aware of the top and the bottom, so you don't have an upside down growing peach. And just put these down like that. And then I'm just going to kind of eyeball this again of where I need to snail, because we're going to snail this on. So I'm thinking there. So I'm going to take that and then remove your tag, remove the braid, and then take your snail, and we're going to snail the part that I know that's going to hit. So I know it's going to hit there. So I'm going to snail this. In fact, I'm going to lift up this dimensional completely and put it on like so. And then I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to lift that last dimensional. Make sure that your dimensional's on your peach and it's not hanging over like mine was a little bit. And then this one's going to hit like here, so I know I can snail all of this. And this is a silicone craft sheet. If you don't have one of these, they're fantastic. I used this before I was card making with my scrapbooking and stuff, and I can glue on it and stuff. It's not going to stick, it's not going to make a mess, and it keeps my glass clean. So that's awesome. So I'm going to put this peach back here, and then I'm going to go ahead and take that little circle part we made before, and I'm going to loop it through here with my braid. And I'm going to go ahead and affix it. Now before I affix it, I'm going to give it a little snail on this part, just because. And then put this through, and I'm going to go ahead and clamp it down. Now I'm going to grab the pieces that are going to be underneath. So, and you don't want it to hang over the edges of the card when it's closed. So lift up your peaches and kind of slide that in. So I've got it slid in. Now if you accidentally tape over a part that's exposed, just grab one of these rubber eraser things and just remove that snail a little bit. So that's good. And now we're going to take the other piece and we're going to put it under here. And I do have those peaches lapping over the tag, just like so. And if you have to remove a peach, that's fine. Remove a peach and get it under where you want. So right there, and I'm going to put my peach back. Just like that. Now we're going to put on these awesome bumblebee trinkets. These are so awesome because there's so many flowers with Stampin' Up that, I mean, you can't go wrong getting these. And they do, they are very popular, so they can go on back order. So when they're not on back order, like grab a bunch of them, like 3 or 4 of them. And there is a link. Go to the description of my video and click on it, and it'll take you to my site and you can place an order for those. So if you've ever seen these are from the Paper Pumpkin kit, and they're like a glue dot, but not. They're a glue dot, but they're not so thick. And these are perfect for putting down embellishments. So if you have anything like this, use it, because it's awesome. And then, or you could just use a glue dot. And I'm going to take one, I put it down first, and it has a little white paper. You just kind of flick off with your fingernail. And then you can lay these down, and they don't give it that bulk that a glue dot does. So another reason to get a Paper Pumpkin subscription. But if there's any Paper Pumpkin that you like and you don't want to get a subscription, let me know and I'll get it for you and mail it to you. Anyway, so this is the front of the card, but we're not done yet. We're going to do the inside. And don't forget, I give away the demo card. So if you're a first-time subscriber, or if you're a current subscriber and you've never gotten a demo card, put in my comments, you know, like and subscribe, please like and subscribe. But put in the comments that you would like to possibly win the demo card, and put your email. You have to put your email because I can't talk to you unless you're like looking at your YouTube comments or whatever. So leave your email and say I'd like to win the demo card, and I'll see if you're a winner. Now I only have one card to give away because I'm going to give the other one to Linda Benninger. And if you guys know her, she's awesome. Go on Linda Benninger's YouTube site, and she's amazing. Anyway, so this is the front of the card. Now let's do the inside. So for the inside, we're going to take our little arm, and this is how we're moving this up. And we're going to open it up here. Now, when you cut this piece, you made it bigger. So you should have a scrap that looks something like this. So we're going to take this scrap. Now we only snailed in the middle here, so this is all kind of open and moving. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to tuck it right underneath that zigzag. It's not going to go anywhere, so you're not wasting any of this space. Now you can make this as wide as you like, but I'm going to just leave it to there. And then, so you're going to see all this little etching from the pale papaya underneath, the DS paper, open it up, and you've got the DS paper again. And now we're going to grab the green piece from the same DS paper. Now this one also, you got to make sure you're cutting it the right direction, because if you cut it this way, it's going to look like that. This way, it's going to look like that. So I just did 4 1/4. I just left it at the 6 because it's a 12 by 12 sheet. And I'm going to take that same die and look for that mark, because that's the top, because it's going to all fit together. And I'm going to line this up real straight, tape it down, and cut it. Cut this piece. Remember, that little tick at the top has to be on the top, and put it right on the edge of the paper, to the point when you cut it, you're going to have to go bonk just to that little edge here. So we've got that piece, and this will fit exactly into this one. So go ahead and snail this up. Now we're going to be cutting off this piece at the end. So I'm going to line that up and fit it right into the card. And then we're going to close this and grab your scissors, and we're going to fussy cut that end right off. Also turn the card, and if you got a little bit hanging over the side here, go ahead and cut that off as well, so it'll look like so. Now for the last piece, we're going to cut the sentiment here. Look for that little mark on the top of your die here. And if you're not comfortable eyeballing this straight, you could also make a straight little ticks like I did to the front, and do that as well, because that will make it so that you're actually cutting this straight. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this side. And then you're going to cut off, kind of put it on your card and see where you want it. I'm going to put it like right about here. Also make sure when we're doing the sentiment, you got enough room there to put it on. So I'm going to cut it right about here. Now we're going to stamp the sentiment, and I'm going to use Sweet as a Peach and those little flowers again on Calypso Coral. And I'm going to use the Stampin' Pad. If you don't have a Stampin' Pad, go to the description of my video and click on it. It's the best way to get the best contact with the clear stamps. And then I'm going to do the little flowers again and just stamp them in the corners. And you know, I'm part of a huge demonstrator group through Linda Benninger. It's Ink and Ingenuity. And we take in all kinds of orphan demonstrators, or if you want to know how to make cards online and do the whole YouTube thing and Pinterest, then go ahead and email me at noreen@joyocards.com. That's in the video description as well. All my information, in fact, is there, and you can contact me anytime or write comments on the video. So that is the card. So look at that, and then you got the arm over like that. Now remember, I only have one card to give away, so if you like the card, put it in my comments that you'd like to possibly win the demo card, and I'll let you know. You just have to make sure your email is there so I can talk to you, and that'll do it for me. Thanks, bye.